Hello, everybody. Stacey Kennedy here. Here to talk about my adult autism life. I make content talking about things within my life, etc. And also, I sing on smule.com. You know that. Um, yeah, I recently came down with COVID, and now I'm in the recovering period now. Um, Last Tuesday, March 14th is when I started to feel symptoms. Then March 15th is when I tested positive, and I tested twice, just to make sure. And so yeah, I was positive. And so yeah, and then the next day, thank goodness, I started taking Paxlovid, which is a 5-day course of pills that you take in the morning, and then you take them in the evening. You don't have to take them with a meal whatsoever, and it won't really affect any other, well, it depends on whatever kind of other medication or so you're taking. It really won't affect anything else besides over-the-counter taking. So yeah, I I was I pretty much I was living on soup, and soup and a solid meal too. Mostly I was eating breakfast bars, orange juice, and um, my boyfriend, every now and then will order us something more solid to eat, because he was recovering too. He's actually much more better now. I'm on the mend, still positive, but really, not really swimming in any symptoms, like not very severe ones or so. My voice, I guess, it's just it was just part of being sick, but it's coming back. It was mostly it was like a cough, a little some congestions, and I was, this is the most, I have to say, there's any time in life that I've isolated myself, sure, a lot of us have done it, just to get away and escape, and just to be alone, be by yourself, and just have me time kind of thing. That's, well, that is an isolation I can, I have done. This has been, however, my first time getting COVID. This is the first time I have ever felt so lost and vulnerable in isolation. And I was with somebody. We both were getting better together. We were taking care of ourselves, taking care of each other. I FaceTimed my family. Every now and then I FaceTimed a couple friends, right? I was, human contact, certainly helps, and yet I was just super, super, super vulnerable and just could not help myself. And I was constantly crying, uh, yeah, I've never felt so lost and alone and depressed. And I wasn't. I have the support. I have family. I have, and my partner. He he was certainly there, and I'm there for him. But just whatever we were trying to do, and all I could do, or just say that, rest, rest, and rest. I was sleeping constantly, which helped. And I have to say, even though it was the most vulnerable, lost time I've ever had in my life, it's also one of the best sleeps I've had in my life. It was sort of one of those, needing a huge week or so and a half off from everything, because the last couple weekends before all this, I was really occupied and doing some fun, eventful things, and being there for people. And so now currently I'm looking after myself and taking care of myself before, I do any of that again. So I don't know if I'm going to go into any special editing here, like, or so. I'm just going to just come at it, go at it, and just be present no matter what condition I'm in. And today, I might share a thing or two, on my first day of COVID, how I really fucking felt, and how just so, I, I don't know, just so how depressed and somehow irresponsible and regretful that I was feeling, even though I had no reason to really feel that, because um the virus is still out there. Lots of things are out there, and anyone who knows me and those who I know go out of their way to be careful and take precautions and are always responsible. I always take good responsibility for my life, and you just got to step back and realize, I always keep saying this in my videos, that sometimes I just have to learn to be human again. I always have to relearn that, so, but anyways, this little clip, I won't share too much, you'll get the hint or so, but this is just me opening up, being vulnerable, and just being brave and shameless, and I'll show you how I was feeling during the first couple days of COVID. So
Hello, everybody. Well, I tested positive for COVID today, and so far the symptoms have been, well, stuffy nose, a cough, minorly at least, and I know that Matt was sick for a few days, but he tested negative. But I emailed and texted everybody pretty much, and let them know, and so I'll just take a couple weeks off and see where it goes from there. I know it's not the end of the world or anything or so, but sometimes when you have anxiety and depression or so on, sometimes it just makes, like I say, it makes you go there, and you get that. I would say I'm depressed that I have it. I intend to keep a positive attitude at the same time, though. Um, just, at least I know I can just, at least I now know I can rest and take the necessity to do so, and not not just lay here in self-pity. I don't internally, I don't pity myself, because I mean we can't help but be exposed. We just can't. And I've been vaccinated, and it just happens, even so. And it's my first time getting it, so first time for everything, I guess. But I contacted my doctor, and she sent a form for me to fill out to take Paxlovid or something. It's supposed to shorten the symptoms, and the only thing I have risky, like, that's risk savvy towards all this is like asthma. Um, but yeah, I'm just staying on top, taking everything and just resting. And honestly, that's all I want to do right now. These last few days, even when I wasn't feeling completely down, I just wanted to do nothing. I didn't want to work. I didn't want to even play. I Sorry, this is just me going into self pity, and I know I shouldn't have to. I don't, I don't deserve that, and I deserve to be kind to myself. And just, it's just, I did go to a party on Sunday, and not only that, I had a couple. There's a few other birthday celebrations. The last couple weekends that I was that I was attending to, and you know, somehow I was hoping, even though that's fun and all, and um, I just was hoping for a weekend or so, or at least some week, just to take off. Just, am I really doing what I want in life? Am I? I can't even answer my own question. I could change things if I wanted to, or at the most change my attitude toward things. My attitude toward everything has always been kind of neutral, and sometimes, you know, encompassing and encompassing. Why don't I just do things? Why do I have to be so afraid of what people think? But am I being true to myself? 100% no. After a while, you just get to around. Sometimes toward the end, I mean, I'm really the one giving the benefit of the doubt. It doesn't matter what anyone else implies. I do everything right, and I slack off every now and then.
I keep hearing it in my head and hearing it from other health experts that, and I agree, it just seems to be the thing lately. I don't seem to comply so much with, and it saddens me. But exercise, I love I love doing it, or I used to. I look around and I just don't see the kind of environment where I can do that, and believe me, I can make it that way. It's just right now. It's just it's just a lot of negativity in my head, and I accept that. But also, what used to help and still does is, if only my earbuds would just stay in my fucking ears, and I could just listen to music and then dance the way I used to, and cardio the way I used to, but also accepting that, I may have a bit more asthma these days. I'll adapt to certain changes, and I love exercise. I do. I just haven't been up to it lately. Uh, and I can't help but just be so whiny on here. I know I just when it's thought of too much, then the interest is lost. God, what's wrong with me? It just seems like every time, anytime you get into something and it fills you with, especially special, well, good endorphins, then don't stop doing it. And then when I do stop doing it, it's hard to get back into. Or did somebody tell me that a long time ago? Oh, it's hard to get back into. Well, maybe for them it was. I, I hate these distortions. And I don't I'm letting it happen. I'm just processing it. I just gotta catch, check, and change it. And
right now I don't feel like changing it. I just feel like I feel like moping and whining and bitching right now, and so that's what you're seeing right now. And I make no, well, not all too much willful apologies. we we can't help that we are, out there. I guess this means I'm missing the resource fair this Saturday, but I'd rather be home and than to affect others. There's still a lot to do. There's still a lot to live for. I feel it. I certainly feel it. I have been so, how would you say, I don't know the word, but even after taking from Joe Kelly, even so, I don't seem to can't seem to get myself to do anything. And not that I'm trying to do it all by myself. Why would I? That's silly. It's just... Okay, and I'll say, yes, I'm really the obstacle. I'm really the one that's stopping it or pushing it and just, whatever. Fine. I'll admit that. Happy? Maybe not. What am I gonna do? Just wait until they come to me? But maybe this is my way right now, is making my own content. Maybe.
Yeah, so and when you have conditions like OCD, ASD, and MMD, major depressive disorder, the vulnerability, I would say it makes a lot of sense why I would go out of whack. I mean, extremely out of whack, because my biggest fear was not forgetting who I am. I may have mentioned that in a recent conversation of mine, and hopefully I didn't worry the person too much. But hopefully I think my biggest fears is that hopefully I won't get too vegged out that my body will forget to do things. And I even felt that I was uh I I couldn't help but have just intrusive negative thoughts, which is very common for someone like me. And of course, and here's the challenging it, and then changing it, replacing it with some kind of solution that will be more helpful, that say, hey, I had this negative thing here, and I'm just going to sit for a while in it and just expose myself to it, and just realize, it sucks, it's hurtful, but it's not gonna kill you, and it's one of those things that are temporary and will pass eventually, and you'll get through it with a little of ERP, especially. I I called up the organization called NOCD. It's one of those that Howie Mandel has spoken on. Lots of other like people. I mean, I saw it on Facebook. I learned a bit about it through Kaiser, that I'm the healthcare I'm under. I first have to get a referral to see someone outside of Kaiser who will take Kaiser and who I can do ERP treatment with. The classes I do once a week for depression and anxiety, I mean, they're helpful, and I've journaled, like I said, and I write. I've pretty much done an exercise or two that are a bit helpful and useful for me. Um, However, I think now I'm looking to actually, sit and or stand or do these things with with a therapist, and and not feel so like, I don't know. I have to kind of do this tap. I used to do this tapping exercise with when I did instinctive acting courses, and like even though my my sometimes myself is against me a lot of times right now, saying you're so irresponsible and so unhealthy, you're going to pay for all this, even though I have that side of me saying that to me for whatever stupid reason. I simply love and respect myself, even though I am this is just a this is a tapping exercise that pretty much helps with, really, uh it could help. It could be therapeutic, not just in acting either, but how did it go? uh Even though I have those things and intrusive stupid thoughts like in my head, and even though maybe there's things I might have overdone and slacked off too much on, I simply love and respect myself. um I gotta This usually goes on for like 15 or so minutes, even a half hour, but basically the tapping releases a lot of gosh, I wish I could put it in terms that are, I don't know, sound intellectual or whatever that means. I don't have to. Do I have to sound intellectual? No, no. I'm me. I am. I'm a good, resourceful, and kind, honest human being, and mistakes are our way to learn. And even if I make the same mistake twice, more than twice, most of the time I'm acting flawless. I don't have to take on the world. I don't have to take on anything, especially if it's a lot on my plate. Now, that does help. Also, mindful meditation on YouTube. I subscribed to the Calm app, or what is initially would be on the Calm app, um, and free. But there's this one on like decluttering your mind, and not just physically, but decluttering your mind too. That's one that I found helpful this morning. Um, so, yeah, my goal is just to start ERP, which stands for Exposure Responsive Prevention Therapy. Um, so basically, instead of avoiding, because in the short term you avoid something, it can have some relief, but in the long term it basically just keeps coming back, the issue. And the really the most helpful way you can feel at peace with that is that if you could expose yourself to that discomfort, kind of thing. So anyways, I'm sure a lot of you out there know what ERP is, and CBT. I've mentioned CBT, but now the real focus now is ERPE. If I remember, RP. Yeah, still know a little of that. So, anyways, I'm just sipping chamomile with lavender, soothing. I went out, and today was the first time I went out after 10 days or so in isolation. Um, I went to walk a dog. I was with nobody else. I was masked and gloved and followed the isolation guidelines. Um, and my dog client was, I was super happy to see her. And I know her owners were so happy that I was out with her too. And so today was a day where I know I can now go outside now, and it really lifted my moods. I for sure, being so bedridden and sulking in my own bed, despite, besides, like, eating, going to the bathroom, brushing your teeth, like, or so, above all that, I know I still am able to keep myself active and stay hydrated. And so those are, like, all really important things, and all daily important things, and we do them our own ways, but especially important when you're going through a sickness like this. And so yeah, I would say COVID for me, it was mild symptoms, and they they're just about rid of, and I guess it wasn't too bad. The idea of me being positive, uh at all, I mean, it just really got to me. I just I just cried. I fucking cried, and I know it wasn't the end of the world, right? Because we're all vaccinated, well, I mean, I'm vaccinated. I think coming on here now today was the best idea, especially to share. Well, I share things about my life anyways, and a lot of the YouTube channels I've seen out there that have inspired me. What the deal is, I just come on anyways and just let you guys know I'm hanging in there, and a little encouragement or so you want to give, that I'm totally acceptive of that. I'm feeling really good. I feel much better than I have the last few days or so, and um I can carry on, which is really the choice in life that we have. And I've let others know that, before I attend anything, to their pets, that, I I'm still recovering, and they're super cool about it. And just as long as I stay masked until after the 11th day or so, as they say, or I might continue to still stay masked when I go out, that is. So anyway, I guess that's it for today, and thank you, and take care.